Hello, very good evening. My name is Jorge Rivas and
Betty Rivas.
welcome to your show, Opinión Latina. And we want to wish you
To say that you had a very happy New Year's Eve on the 31st, of course.
we are starting the year.
New, of course. So we want to wish that this whole year, 2026, is very blessed and wonderful for each person who watches us. The
People who,
we know, yes,
I think that as time goes by, I think you start to appreciate having good health. I think for me, that's a big thing, having good health. So you can go out and do what you like, go out to work. If you have a family, spend time with your family, walk, jump, run. I mean, so many things you can do. Dance.
well,
Of course, dance. So once again, this is a show where my wife and I will go and share our opinions about the topics that are happening from the Latino point of view, from the perspective of Latino immigrants in the United States. I think it's very important to know what the community is thinking, what people like us who live in the United States are thinking. And there are several very important topics to talk about. And one of them, as we all know, this week is what's happening in Venezuela.
that's right, in Venezuela. It was something you could see coming, but we didn't know when. We just knew that something, and everyone was saying they knew something was going to happen. And well, President Trump surprised us as the year began.
Yes, as responsible and engaged citizens, we must acknowledge in our daily lives, we're not involved in government jobs or with the FBI, the CIA, or anything like that. We don't have an inside source, as they would say in English, an intelligence source. So we're going to give our opinions based on what is said on social media, on what people are saying. But we know that when Chavez took office or took power, let's say, in Venezuela, he started the idea or began working on turning the country socialist. So, but we have to understand that socialism on paper, if it's written down, sounds nice, sounds perfect, sounds like we're all going to share a piece of the pie, the piece of, what do they call it in South America? I know they use another word, right? You don't remember?
No.
All right. The pie, as it's called in English, meaning it's going to be cut up and divided equally. But as we sadly know from what has already happened in other countries like Cuba, in the Soviet Union, where either communism or socialism, which are practically the same thing, doesn't work because those at the top are the ones who are in charge.
And they're the ones who have the most. Those who do the dividing take the best part for themselves.
The best part, biggest part.
Big
Part. In other words, we know that Fidel Castro died a multimillionaire. When he wasn't, when he was young, and it's not like he had a business career or anything, he simply led the government. But during his time in government, he became a multimillionaire.
But you know what? Yesterday, I watched a very interesting interview with Fidel Castro's own sister, where she explicitly states that Fidel never truly worked. He never actually had a proper job. His father always generously gave him money, and then he just went on to become the ruthless dictator he eventually was, and simply.
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, the idea of socialism is great. It's a wonderful idea. But from having watched the news some, I don't know, maybe 5, 8, 10 years ago, when the situation in Venezuela became extremely tough, I remember that journalists from the United States went to the border between Colombia and Venezuela and saw thousands of people walking, leaving Venezuela because there was no work, no food, no medicine. And I remember there were 2 young men and a young woman, Venezuelans, who crossed over into Colombia. And one of the comments the Venezuelan girl made was how incredibly happy, lacking better words to truly express it, what immense satisfaction she felt when she finally found essential hygiene products. Among them, she discovered many crucial items. She mentioned toilet paper, bathroom tissue. I mean, if you live in a normal country, in a normal society, these are things you just take.
Where there is no shortage, we're going to buy a roll of toilet paper. Here on the corner, it's so simple and plentiful, you just go to the store and there's plenty. And if they don't have it there, you ask the girl and she says, "Oh, yes, here it is," and brings you a whole box.
By the way, this morning I was listening to Secretary Marco Rubio, where he said that at least 8 million Venezuelans have left Venezuela in recent days. So it's not something that people are just making up. I mean, it's a problem. It's such a harsh reality where what Chavez created and then what Maduro has continued to do is simply abuse on so many levels, just filling their banks, enriching their families, yes, their own pockets.
Enriching their families, enriching themselves, and they just don't care about the people dying of hunger, people leaving like crazy. And with the Biden administration, well, everything that's been said, I mean, that he deliberately sent a lot of people to come here.
Yes, it said that they emptied the prisons.
Yes, the worst of the worst. Jofu told them, go to the United States. Yes, of course. I mean, it's just evil. I mean, you can't say like the president said, oh, that Mexico sends the worst.
In this case, it was Venezuela.
In this particular case, it was indeed Venezuela. And in reality, the Maduro regime truly did send the absolute worst individuals when President Biden was in office, and a truly massive number of Venezuelan migrants subsequently came into the country.
So this has happened in other countries where dictators, even though they have elections where people supposedly go to vote, in the end, the result is always the same. They always keep winning. So as people who live in the United States, where there is a change of power because it is concluded that the winner was chosen by the people, we are truly happy that this dictatorship has finally ended for the well-being of the people. I mean, maybe the process of removing Maduro wasn't the most appropriate or the most convenient, or the nicest one. But how else were they going to get him out?
Or who was going to dare to do it? I mean, who was going to dare? People have been complaining about him for so long, saying he needs to be removed from power, he needs to go. I've been hearing it, and nobody does anything. I mean, nobody dares.
And even though other countries, let's say in Latin America, maybe their presidents, let's take the example of where I'm from, El Salvador, where thank God now we have a really awesome, really tough president. Go Bukele. That's right. Even so, let's say these smaller countries, even if they wanted to do something, they don't have the military capacity or the logistical capability, because from what I heard, from what I've been listening to, there were at least 100 different aircraft involved in this operation. I mean, from helicopters.
I mean, it wasn't something simple like let's just send a helicopter and you just get off and grab Maduro and his wife. No, 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 it wasn't like that at all.
So they say that at the same time, F-35 planes came in to blow up the communication antennas, the radar antennas, to take out the defenses. In other words, they came in as a combined force instantly, and then planes were telling the helicopters they had to fly up to a certain altitude. So it was an extremely complex operation.
It was a well-studied, well-planned operation. It wasn't just anything. I know a lot of people are angry, but those are people who support Maduro. But I've also seen live interviews from Venezuela from yesterday where people are happy. They say, we already knew this was going to happen at any moment, and it's good that it finally happened. He's not here anymore. It'll take a little while for everything to get back to normal, but people are happy. And all of us who don't approve of dictatorships or socialism or communism, we're all happy.
Look, a lot of people who give their opinion and are against it aren't even Venezuelan and have never lived in Venezuela. I mean, they're ignorant people who just talk because they have a big mouth. That's the truth. But the people who have lived under the dictatorship, many of them have been victims, not just thrown in jail, but interrogated, beaten, even raped, mistreated. Yes, but also the everyday people lack basic necessities. I mean, finding eggs, finding bread, finding rice, beans. Many times it was impossible for them. I heard in a report once a person said they had to go at 3 in the morning to line up to get to the store because there were already hundreds of people waiting, wanting to buy something. And when we got to the door, no, because it was over.
Come back next month.
How sad. So we, as Latin Americans, as Hispanics in the United States, agree with what happened. We support President Trump and his administration for removing the madman Maduro. No,
Not Maduro, we'll say the rotten one. Yeah. Maduro was already rotten.
overripe.
Overripe. Yeah. No, no, no. I'm happy. I'm glad because, like you said, people who just run their mouths are just talking for the sake of talking. And right now, a lot of people are saying, oh, of course, President Trump did that because he wants the oil, because he wants the oil. I mean, please, come on.
Well, he doesn't want the oil to enrich himself. I mean, if the oil is extracted, it's going to be through companies, and that company is going to sell the oil to the public.
Well, yes, of course. And besides, it's going to create jobs. Just like he said, the people who want to, the Venezuelans who want to return, will be able to come back and reclaim what was taken from them. I see a bright outlook. If it's done the way President Trump and Marco Rubio are saying, I mean, in the long run, in the short run, I don't know how long it will take, but I think it's going to be something good for Venezuelans. I mean, they won't have to live with that constant anxiety anymore, wondering if they'll have enough to eat or if the power will be cut for half the day or, the water.
I don't know. Another thing that's important to mention is that about 1 or 2 years ago, Maduro held a referendum. I don't know if that's the word in Spanish, where he wanted to annex. Would annex be the word in Spanish? Yes, annex. The territory that follows Venezuela going towards Brazil. I believe it is the country of Suriname, if I'm not mistaken. But it was found that this country has just discovered an immense amount of oil reserves. So he wanted to annex or wants to annex. Well, he wanted to because he is no longer in power. Annex this territory to seize those energy sources as well. So if he is a man, if he is a dictator, just imagine with Venezuela already under his control, now he also wanted to go after the next country, which really is its own government, but it's a small government, so it doesn't have the means to defend itself. Therefore, it's necessary to have people who think with a democratic mindset where they can be in power, let's say, as presidents elected for a certain period of time, 5, 6, 7 years, whatever you think, but then they have to leave office and let democracy take its course.
Let it take its course, yes. Yes, so that there won't be another dictator like Chavez or that rotten one. That's how it is. Let's hope to God that everything goes well and well tomorrow. It's going to be a big day because supposedly they're going to press charges against the couple.
Yeah, right. Because he's also accused of promoting and
of being the ringleader. Yeah, of that, the Algozols, what's it called?
Yeah, it's essentially an illicit narcotics trafficking criminal organization.
Yeah, well, it's because of those boats that were smuggling drugs and the president started killing them.
So, something else I'd like us to talk about it. It has to do with the huge amount of corruption that's been happening over the last, 5 or 10 years here in the United States, in the state of Minnesota. And it's mostly being done by immigrants who came from Somalia. It's been heard that through organizations, especially those involved in childcare, what is called a daycare here, where it's said they set up
fake businesses, as they say in Mexico, or ghost businesses, and the government is providing them with money, and not just a little, we're talking millions. And supposedly there are 100 children, but when they go and check, there isn't a single child. And in another place, they claim to have 99, but there's no one there.
For me or for you, I imagine we're thinking along the same lines. It seems to me like what word could I use? A travesty?
No. An abuse?
Theft? Something extreme. I mean, it's shameless. I mean, it pisses me off like 100%. It really bothers me. To the point that it makes my blood boil, because these people supposedly came to the US because they work, because they came from a country where they were so unhappy, they didn't have jobs, they didn't have
really poor, and they came to ask for asylum, to request their papers. I don't know in what way. The United States, being such a generous country, let them in. They have their papers, and now they steal from the system. I mean, blatantly, because you and I work very hard. I mean, every little thing you and I have, everything we've achieved in this country, it's because we've been working really hard. Yes,
So, and these people are stealing? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm getting at. How do you dare come and abuse the system?
to,
Bite the hand that feeds you? Yes.
to bite, as they say, to bite the hand that feeds you. I mean, when that money the government gives you,
It comes from taxpayers.
yes, it comes from the taxes we pay. Everyone who works, contributes, pays taxes. For what? So that at some point in life, maybe one of us will need help from the government. If you're going to ask for food stamps, because you never know. I mean, I've always said that's a system, the one in the United States. It's a very well structured system to help people when a working person is in trouble, but not for abuse. For abuse, it's theft. Here or in China, it's theft. But like you said, on a large scale, because I mean, they're not even people born here. In other words, they came from another country and they are biting the hand that feeds them. Either
Be it to
so many people leaving her without help when they really need it.
here at Opinión Latina, I dare say that we demand the immediate deportation of every person who has committed this type of crime, who has abused the system, who has not cared a fig, who has not appreciated in the slightest all that the country of the United States has offered them. So I hope the United States government will have the spinal cord, the strong spine, and what if it says, you know what? If you committed fraud, you're out. No, no, no. How do you say the word? You don't deserve it. You don't deserve to keep living in the United States because the fraud you've committed is so, how do you say?
Well, what word can we use? I mean, it's astronomical, like an atrocious fraud. Yes, yes. Because, I mean, just taking millions to claim you have a daycare when you don't, or saying you have a health clinic, it's also so saying that they've claimed to have like clinics.
They're abuses. They're abuses.
There's no one. I mean, there's no one. It's all lies, just lies, simply to steal those millions that are given to them.
And supposedly, no, also Congresswoman Omar, I think that's her last name. They also say that in about 3 to 4 years, she went from having nothing,
At all.
from having $60,000 in her bank account to having 30 million. I mean, the woman became a millionaire.
And that's not even the worst part. I mean, another thing is that she married her brother. She committed fraud by marrying her brother just to get him papers so he could be legal in the United States. Listen, a congresswoman doing that.
Yes, it's a disgrace. And we, as Latin American immigrants who are very grateful to this country, are 100% in agreement. We completely disapprove of all this corruption, of all the actions that the Somalis are doing in Minnesota. And
That congresswoman,
therefore, as
I said earlier, and she should already be out of office. I mean, I don't know what they're waiting for. I mean, if they're saying they're going to check everyone who has committed fraud to get citizenship, to get residency,
she should be the first one.
she should be the example. You know what? Look here. Like with her, that's what's going to happen to everyone who has committed fraud. I'm very angry.
No, no, no. And yes, it really is upsetting.
Well, yes, because when you do things the way you're supposed to, following the rules, doing things as best as possible. Why? Because this country is a generous country. It gives you everything where you can come and do whatever you want. And these people, I mean, just come to take advantage. And yes, they said, no, here you can do whatever you want. So let's see. Well, bring the money over here.
right? And it also makes me angry to see that these women with their Muslim veils all covered up, acting all saintly. I mean, I don't want to sound Islamophobic, as they say in English, but they should go bother their little demonic prophet who didn't teach them good moral values, but instead taught them to steal. To
Steal, to be dishonest.
Yes, I mean, a truly great sadness. And here on Opinion Latina, we are absolutely going to say things exactly as they truly are without mincing any words at all. And may God bless you abundantly.
That's right. May God bless you.
And we hope you'll comment, subscribe to us, that you'll. What else?
Yes, that you subscribe, that you keep giving us your opinions too, because your Latino opinion also matters.
And give us your little finger.
Thumbs up. That's great.
If it's downwards, Diana, why?
Exactly. And besides, God willing, we'll see you here next week. Where?
Latin Opinion.